On today's episode of Perfiles by Dawn Page, I have the honor to interview Humberto Gatica, multi-Grammy award-winning record producer and music engineer from Chile for the world. I am so honored to be here with you. I am so grateful for your time, and I hope audiences will get to know you up close and personal, the person behind so many artists, super iconic international artists. How did it all start, Humberto?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to be able to talk to you about my life story in the music business. I'm from Chile, obviously, and members of my family were very successful artists. Lucho Gatica, Arturo Gatica. And so I've always been music. I've always felt attracted to music and everything to do with sound. I always pursued excellence when I was listening, even when I was a young age. And at one point in my life, I took a good look at myself and I say, you're not going to be the greatest soccer players in the world. You're not going to be a lawyer. You're not going to be a doctor. You're not going to be an architect. So I aimed toward north, and I came to America in 1968 at the age of 16, almost 17. I arrived here in 68 February, and my birthday is in March, so I was 17 right away. And I did many type of work, many jobs. I park cars, I work in warehouse, and I did whatever was needed to make the American dollar so I can somehow bring my family to America. And I was able to do that until there was a situation when I flew from Santiago, Chile to Mexico, because that was the only way that I can afford to come to America. It was through Mexico to the border of Tijuana, and the dream began then. When I went through Mexico, I got to see one of my relatives, Lucho Gatica, and he knew that we were coming to America. And several years later, he was in Los Angeles. He located me, and he asked me if I have a car. And I said, yes, I do have a car, and I can drive myself around, and I have different jobs, but I'm doing okay. And he asked me to take him to visit a friend of him, and happened to be that particular person, a very, very, very nice gentleman. It was the manager of a recording studio. But to me, a recording studio didn't register. I knew that music was played on a round record, called record, with a hole in the middle, and you place it and you drop the needle and you hear music. I never knew the logistic of how records were made. Happened to be that this man was the manager, and Lucho was a very dear friend of Lucho. So I took Uncle there and to visit him, and on the way back to the hotel, I didn't get to meet the man at the time. He mentioned to me, and he says, you know what they do there? He says, I said, no idea. That's where they record. That's where they make music. That's where artists go there, musicians go there, and records are made. I said, oh, wow. That's interesting. I said, would you like to somehow know more about that? And if you pick me up tomorrow at the hotel, we can have lunch and we can come to visit perhaps Val, it was the name of the man, Val Valentine. He can show you the room. So that's what happened. Came back next day, we had lunch, and then I was able to go to the studio with him, because the place where we had lunch was relatively close. We walked in there, and he says, 1 second, let me verify that it's okay for us to walk into one of the rooms. And he did so. And when I walked in, I say, this is it.
This is where you belong.
This is the place. I was fascinated. You see a desk like so, smaller, but to me it looked like the main cabin of an aircraft, all these buttons and things and lights and isolation rooms and microphone thing on the other side, because apparently it was a session to be done at the time there that day. And that got stuck in my head forever. So he says, let me ask Val, if one day you can witness an actual recording session. I said, wow, that would be incredible. So I give the man my phone number, and we left with Uncle Lucio, and that was it. But it took about almost 2 months. I figured out he already forgot about me, and he forgot about the invitation. And actually, he delivered it. 2 months later, he called me and he says, I'm Val. I said, Val, that's very nice of you. You called me. He said, listen, I think I have the right session for you to witness and come. So he said to me on a specific day, he says, what about next Thursday? I said, I'm fine. I'm usually home about 5 o'clock after I finish work. He says, there's a session at 7 p.m. You be here, on time, so we can introduce you and figure out how we can, make you feel like you can witness a recording session. And that's exactly what happened. I show up there quarter to 7. Pretty cool. He says, look, everybody knows who you are. You are a relative of
a dynasty.
Of a very dear friend of mine, who is Lucho was a superstar already. In the Spanish world, he was the guy who sang boleros, the romantic voice, beautiful falsetto, incredible intonation, beautiful. He made a lot of records. Lucho made in his lifetime, about 80 albums to record with everybody.
But what else is in the works for you?
So now there's a movie of Michael Jackson coming up. Was supposed to be out this year in April. They postponed it till next year. So what happened is when they realized that the entire movie is going to have only Michael Jackson music, I have to match every iconic mix that was done by some hardcore producer like Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, artists like Michael Jackson. Those people were in the room when they approved the mix. When it's all put together, people come and listen and they approve it before it goes to the consumer. Some of the stuff, I work on it. Okay, we're talking about Thriller. I came into the team of the Michael Jackson iconic project. It was Thriller, Bad.
All the successes.
I didn't do History, nothing to. But then I did the last one was Invincible, and I did We Are the World, and I did other things with Michael Jackson, right? So therefore, the state of Michael Jackson is very, very, very tight. They can't let go files to anybody. So they trust a person like me that I work with Michael and that I'm doing it here. And if I can open that thing, I show you all the hard drive. If I were to have to do this on a regular commercial studio, it would be a pain in the ass. Reason why? Because at the end of the night, I have to make sure the guy is giving me everything back, that I'm not leaving everything. Why? Because people can get the vibe that we've been working on Michael Jackson, they can open the thing and steal some shit and nobody knows. All of a sudden you hear stuff where that came from. Because of the name, right, but to have it in my house after I worked on some of the stuff 30 years ago, it's mind-blowing. I would have never imagined that I'm doing Beat It and stuff that I work on it, and here I have the original master. It's like, I don't know, it's like sitting in some place, you're in the film, you have all the original cuts of E.T. or Star Wars in your house. You're like, all of a sudden you got all the masters.
So one of the most monumental, points in your career was when you had the opportunity to work with many big stars on We Are the World. Tell us, take us back on memory lane.
We Are the World, to me, is the most significant project that I've ever been part of it because of the purpose in the humanitarian aspect of that recording. There was to somehow generate what's the word? The word generate. I hate to use the word money. Generate.
Fundraiser.
Thank you. To me, because it was a humanitarian project to generate funds so they can somehow bring food to these children in Africa, in Ethiopia, I believe it was, and so children were just starving. You know, it was horrible, some of the pictures. And the person behind this, who put this together, who also made a record with all the British artists, somehow he contacted Harry Belafonte, and from there All Star. Harry Belafonte said we should be able to do something like them and put all these incredible artists together. And that's the best producer in the world until a few months ago he passed away, the greatest, you know, Quincy Jones, one of the most incredible producers. At that time I already knew Quincy and we already have worked together, and he says, Hum, because he nicknamed me Hum, H-U-M. He says, Hum, we got to make a record that is very important, it's very special, and he described the type of record that we were going to do. And obviously, you know, he says, I want you to be part of it, and he assigned me everything to do with the technical aspect of that. And to me, it was a great honor to do that record.
You've worked with international artists, but you also produce in various languages, and that's something that is not easily accomplished.
Yes, that's very true. And that is the power of music. You know, it doesn't matter if I made a record in French, artists like Julien Clerc, you know, Celine Dion, or in Italian, you know, Il Volo, Andrea Bocelli, Pausini, Eros Ramazzotti.
Wow.
In Spanish, my language, mother language, you know.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. A ver.
Este es mi primer Grammys. Right here.
Okay, mira.
Este es diferente porque antes lo hacían
¿En qué
así.
año fue este? ¿En los 80s?
Este año fue en el 84.
Y cada uno de estos premios, cada uno de estos Grammys tiene una gran historia.
Todo tiene una historia. Todo tiene una historia, absolutamente.
Aquí hay 14, pero 3 están en el museo.
Hay 3 Grammys que están en el museo, en Nueva York y aquí en Los Ángeles. And now, you have to remember, having 17 Grammy, actually there are 16 Grammy because of music-related project. But this one is premio of del Consejo Directivo, is kind of like a contribution to the music, you know, recognition for my contribution to the music, Latin music, whatever, is provided by the Academy. When you make a record, especially me, I don't make a record working thinking that I'm going to win a Grammy.
No.
I don't work in thinking. If a Grammy comes, is the ice on the cake, is la cereza.
Del pastel.
The pastel, you know, is like I say, in order to get, I don't know, to have 17 Grammy, you got to have nominations. And I have nominations that I lost.
Yeah.
So right now, I would say it must be about 40 nominations.
Oh my God. Anything else you would like to add?
I think I believe in your brand, believe in yourself. You know, nothing is easy. Nothing is like that. I think that you can always do better. You know, you can always believe that you can do it. I think it's important that you believe that. Stay true to music. And do music that somehow, eventually, other generation could somehow being. What's the word? Being influenced by technology today allow for a lot of people to make records. But I think that the art of making music has suffered tremendously. My job is when I make record is that if I believe and I'm being affected by it, I can say, here, you gotta listen to it. But if I'm not, and if I'm somehow, I'm lying to you. it's like the same. If I cook something and I go try and I go, it's not that good, and then, hey, I want you to try this, and thinking that you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
If I don't love it,
Yeah.
when I taste it, how can I expect you to like it?
Okay.
I'd be lying to you. So that's the only thing I can say. And just be honest with yourself when you make music. There's nothing more nice than just give it all. You know, and that's my story, and
Wow.
I'm gonna stick to my story.
Thank you. I am so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for this conversation. Carla, thank you so much for your help in coordinating this amazing interview with this living legend.
Thank you for calling me a legend.
And also to my colleague George.
Jorgito.
Jorgito, thank you. Jorge.
Behind the lens.
Sí. That's a wrap. Adios.